The hidden source of vital spiritual energy, Gayatri, the supreme source of thy power, is revered as the origin of the infinite gamut of spiritual, conscious, unconscious and superconscious faculties, cosmic energy and material existence. The cosmic power of Gayatri, used for the creation and perceivable manifestation of the universe, is named as Savitri. The higher level sadhana of Gayatri and Savitri include the endeavors of stimulation and arousal of Kundalini and the unfolding and sublime transmutation of the Panchakoshas. Before going into the deeper science of Kundalini, we may attempt understanding its basic elements. Kama, the subtle source of sex element, zealous vitality, sublime creativity, joy, and emotional exaltation, is the seed of manifestation of this hidden energy of cosmic grandeur. The sagacious enlightened personalities are aware of this precious source and therefore use it cautiously for creative purposes. We too should know the importance and deeper depths of the spiritual science of Kama and proceed along the path of sadhanas as per our present mental makeup. The physical science regards atom as the basic unit of matter. As per the hypothesis prevalent until half a century ago, the origin and properties of matter and hence all its reactions and energy variations were attributed to specific arrangements, distributions, and motion of the subatomic particles in the nuclei of its atoms. Further research had discovered that the atom or subatomic particles are not the most basic entities. Rather, these are consequences. After the theories of quantum energy waves, etc., it is now believed that the root cause of the manifestation of nature is some kind of cosmic vibrations that could be regarded as generating the physical as well as conscious energy waves, the sparks of which motivate the motion of subatomic and subtler particles in give rise to the physical existence of the universe and control its expansion and ultimate destruction. The science of spirituality begins at much deeper levels. It affirms the origin of nature and cosmic expansion through the evolutionary impulse generated by the commingling of Prakriti and Purusha. These Prakriti and Purusha are also referred as Rai and Prana, Shiva and Shakti, or Agni and Soma in the Vedic literature. We may think of these as sublime cosmic power currents of mutually complementary nature. As the flow of electricity is not possible without both the positive and negative currents, no energy or motion could be realized in nature without the vibrating linkage of Prakriti and Purusha. The Sankhya school of Vedic philosophy describes that the cosmic impulse induced by the vibrating linkage, consistent cycle of mutual commingling and separation originate the evolving existence of the para and apara forms of nature. We get the first experience of this effect in the motion of subatomic particles. A clock starts and continues operating with the harmonic motion of its pendulum. Similarly, the existence and unlimited activities of nature commence and continue with the vibrating linkage of Prakriti and Purusha. In order to explain and illustrate the deeper science and philosophy of this subliminal process, the Purusha, Brahma, and Prakriti are rhetorically described in the scriptures as representing the eternal man and woman. The Trinity gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, symbolize thy powers of eternal creation, execution, and evolution. The goddesses, referred as their respective wives, are Savitri, Lakshmi, and Parvati. Hidden behind this rhetoric description of divine couples is the fact that the eternal thy force, Purusha, is incomplete without Prakriti. No creation, no life, and no growth would be possible without the conjunction of the two. There would be nothing except the absolute void. From the anthropological viewpoint, the conjugation of the mutually supplementary powers of man and woman is the root cause of all the gross existence of the world. The confluence or coupling of the two naturally complementary streams of the sex element gives birth to new life. This reaction is like generation of spark from friction, from impulsive cycle of conjugation and separation. The vibrating linkage in the sublime domains of nature is also reflected in every expression of life, every process of the living body. For example, the respiratory cycle, the consecutive compression and expansion of the muscles, the beating of the heart, the pulsating flow of blood, the cyclic growth and division of the cells, the rhythmic cascade of molecular interactions, etc. Any disruption in this system invites a terror death. This is true not only for the gross body, but also in every expression of nature. Like the high and low tides of the sea, every activity in the universe is based on the cosmic impulse of the vibrating linkage, cyclic conjugation, and disjunction of what is termed in the science of spirituality as Prakriti and Purusha, or Rai and Prana. Human life entirely depends upon the eternal cosmic process. What is transacted by the Prakriti and Purusha in the subliminal realms of cosmic creation is supposed to be performed by man and woman together in the gross domains of life on this earth. The alliance of the two is therefore essential on the social fronts. Apart from the exceptional cases of individuals living singly because of some unavoidable compulsions or because of some ascetic ideals or noble aims, the life partnership, as married couples in general, or company of men and women, is the most natural, common, and favorable mode of life in the human society. No one would object to accept that the natural growth and happiness of life sustains on the association of man and woman. It should be noted that the intimate companionship of man and woman is required not only for reproduction or carnal pleasure. The joy of sexual linkage and desire of having offspring may trigger such relationships in a couple. However, this is not all. In fact, the intimate association between the two enables creative channelization of karma in both and thus helps arousal of their otherwise dormant consciousness. This soothing exaltation is required in every moment of life. The attachment of a child with his mother and eagerness of being in her lap or proximity are also indicative of this natural requirement. The sons deprived of motherly affections and the daughters bereft of father's love and protection is often found to lack in healthy psychological development. The presence of boys and girls both among the children augments the happy ambience of a family. the boys who have no company of sisters, and similarly the girls without having brothers, remain deprived of overall development of personality and risk some hindrance in mental evolution. With the emergence of youth, one has to arrange for a married life. Healthy association between husband and wife together would offer natural boost to each other's progress in all dimensions of life. In the old age, affectionate interaction with the grandsons and granddaughters also provides extra sublime support to the hidden consciousness of the grandmothers and grandfathers respectively. Renowned psychologists like Dr. Freud, though in a narrowed sense of the word, have advocated karma as the utmost need of human life. It is affirmed to be fulfilled in intimate interactions, amicable alliance between the opposite sexes. Somehow in our country, the Sanskrit or Hindi word karma is mostly used to imply sexual pleasure or related desires. This is why it is often discarded as an erotic or obscene terminology, and the concept of inevitability of karma appears debased and unacceptable to many of us. But a sane consideration of the overall meaning of the word with scientific outlook and open mind would convey that karma is indeed an eternal necessity reflected in origin and infinite expansion, right from the commingling of Prakriti and Purusha and the gross generation of life, to the contributions of married life in the society and sustenance of the world. Finding flaws in this interpretation or countering it by some linguistic analysis, etc., would only be a prejudiced and futile exercise of arguments. Unmindful and uncontrolled use of every resource is risky. Extremities or exploitation of everything should be avoided. Incontinence and greed of unwise, short-sighted people often cross limits in unchecked, insidious misuse of the faculties of sense organs. Look at the state of our tongue, for instance. Many of us have ruined its vital power in abusive, bitter, and false speech and all kinds of unhealthy foods and invited physical and mental sufferings and economical and moral decline in several respects. This is not the flaw of the natural faculties of taste and voice endowed in the tongue. If restrained, refined, and used wisely, this tiny organ alone could serve great purposes in enlightened progress of our life. The same is the case of the genitals. If these are restrained carefully together with adoption of brahmacharya, and the nectar of karma hidden in the sex element is enjoyed with moral purity and cautious control, the sexual indulgence too would prove to be beneficial and fulfilling like the elixir of life. After all, careful processing and medicinal use of poison makes it a life-saving drug too. However, at the same time, we must note that adulteration and ill usage of these are always detrimental and could convert even the nectar into a deadly toxin. Thus, it is not the karma, rather, its perversion and erotism that are debauching and should be reproached and avoided. The social anomalies of imposed separation between man and woman and excessive constraints upon their meeting each other stimulate unnatural psychological complications and debased tendencies in mind. As we all know, nothing indecent or shameful is observed in the act of breastfeeding of a child by his mother. Women in many tribal communities do not cover their breasts, but this does not trigger unnatural concupiscence or any obscenity. It is only our mental wild and absurd convictions that project the holy part like the breast of a woman's body as an erogenous symbol. The woman's body too is like any other creation of nature. But the aberrations of attitude make it a source of moral vitiation. Our skewed thinking, adulterated mental tendencies have maligned the peerless potential bestowed by nature in the form of karma. Birds and animals remain nude throughout their lives. Their males and females eat, sleep, and play together, but forget about sexual interaction. Neither side even pays any attention towards carnal proximity unless demanded by nature in specific seasons. If we burn the man-made interpretations and theories of karma and employ its enormous incessant potential in adopting the pure inspirations of nature and inducing refined development of life, the sex element too would no longer be mere source of carnal pleasures. Rather, it would flourish as a marvelous seed of vitality, creative enthusiasm, and rare faculties. When the relations between a daughter and father, sister and brother, or mother and son could be so sacred, happy, and healthy, why would that between other kinds of social interactions between the two sexes be pernicious? Take for instance the case of husband and wife. This relationship could be most enlightening and exceptionally encouraging for unalloyed progress of both if insulated from the aberration of sensual lust. Marriage, in such cases, would prove to be an excellent means of nurturing completion in the lives of both the partners by healthy alliance and mutual support. Lord Krishna had mobilized a welcome revolution in this regard. The Indian society of those days of yore was subjected to blind traditions. Even the child, boys and girls were not allowed to play together. People bear a blind conviction that meeting or interaction of men and women of whatever age groups would lead to immoral, untoward consequences. This had darkened people's mentality and thus captured the smiles of children too in the barrier of social absurdity. Little boys and girls were not able to laugh or play together under these baseless constraints.